Folks, the potential as well as the possible peril of AI has captured the world's attention this year. Goldman Sachs says 300 million jobs could be affected. Others say it will create trillions of dollars in new wealth. In fact, it's already propelled one company to soar up to a $1 trillion valuation just this year. And today, the global race to find ways to commercialize AI and turn it into profits is officially on. That's why two Wall Street legends, Mark Chaikin and Dr. David Eifrig, are teaming up for the first time ever on July 19th to reveal how artificial intelligence has just shattered one of the most important barriers in technological history. I urge you to tune in and consider what they may have to say carefully. Just head to AIRace2023.com for full details. The one decision you may need to make with your money right now, even if you don't realize it, and why 2023 will be remembered as the year the great AI race began. With over 90 years of combined investing experience, there's nobody better to cut through the hype, answer all of your most burning questions about what AI really means for your money, and help you find the real opportunities to position yourself to grow your wealth as this story accelerates in the months ahead. Again, Mark and Doc will go live on Wednesday, July 19th with all the critical details. You don't want to miss this one. Head to AIRace2023.com right now to make sure you're on their list for updates. Again, that's AIRace2023.com. It's 100% free. Hi, this is Daniela Cambone. Welcome back to the Daniela Cambone Show here on Stansberry Research. We are continuing with our talk on inflation today with my guest, Todd Bubba Horwitz. Always good to see you, Bubba. Welcome back.
Danny, it's always great to see you. I'm excited to be with you today.
Me too. I hope I got to get you all fired up, because let's start with the latest that we saw this week. The inflation numbers, they're telling us it rose just 0.2% in June, less than expected, as consumers, these are the headlines now, get a break from price increases. So providing more welcome relief to American consumers who have been crushed by unrelenting price increases. This is what the headlines are telling us. But are you breathing a sigh of relief yet, Bubba?
Can I say what I want to say? I know
Yeah.
I can't, so I won't. But look, this is the biggest bunch of crap ever reported. It's all garbage. It's all a bunch of rhetoric. It's a facade of that maybe inflation is getting better. What it's really trying to do is to make an excuse for the Federal Reserve and what they're going to do. This is total crap. We have inflation still skyrocketing. Just look at your gasoline prices. Just look at the food prices when you go to the grocery store. This is, again, I urge everybody, look at what you're spending yourself and then look at what the BS numbers that the government gives you and tell me if it's really 2% and if we've had a relief in this month. I see no relief, and I see no relief forthcoming for quite a while because of the way that we've done things. And you have Saudi Arabia continuing to cut production of oil, which is only going to drive up our key ingredient, which is fossil fuels, because that is 80% of everything we do.
Yet they're trying to convince us that we should be, like, to your point, everyone I speak to, and including myself, I'm not feeling the relief yet. I mean, I have my husband charting strategically where we should be pumping gas, to your point. So I don't know what they're trying to convince us of here, Bubba.
Well, they're trying to tell us how dumb they are, and they want us to be as dumb as they are, or how they're trying to fleece the American taxpayer with this, what we would call taxation without representation. Because the inflation that we are seeing today is inflation for taxes and is because of the misspending of government. This is not what we would call good inflation, where it's because products are under demand.
Yeah, and then we're still getting the opposite message from the Fed, right? It's been a while since I spoke to you, so I want to get your take on the latest from the Fed, where Powell's saying they're still not happy with what they're seeing on the inflation fight. So yeah, they took a pause, but more rate hikes are coming. What do you make of the more rate hikes narrative? I know you've been steadfast on saying that we're going to head back to QE, but they're saying more hikes are coming.
No, I think more hikes are coming. I believe that the 10-year notes are getting to 6%, which is the key benchmark that we're using. That's what they use now for mortgages instead of LIBOR and things like that. The Fed is nowhere near done. If they want to get their target, which we know is totally wrong, to 2%, and we're at over 4%, How much more do they have? How many more hikes do they have to go to get there? Well, it brings the rate up, the 10-year up to about 6%, which is where we're probably going to go, and we're going to destroy another big piece of the middle class because they won't be able to afford to live in the environment that we're in right now.
What's your latest thoughts on recession, Bubba? I mean, we obviously, when I say we, the market completely missed it. We all thought recession was going to come in the first half of this year. That has not been the case. What's your take on recession? Is it no longer happening? Are we still headed for one?
I think we're in a recession now. I don't think that's changed. I've been in that. We're in a recession now. Just because some economists won't call recession, Larry Summers, who was Obama's economist and who was their chief, says that we're in a recession. Now, whether you believe him or not, look, we're in a recession. And again, this goes back to everybody personally. There's no jobs. The jobs aren't paying. The commercial real estate's breaking down. The regular housing market is breaking down. What do you want to call that? Party? Should we call it New Year's Eve?
So explain to us what's happening in the Nasdaq and the S&P. A few weeks ago, we saw, just a rush back into equities here, Bubba. Talk to us about the enthusiasm surrounding AI stocks. I mean, is the investor back?
Well, first of all, volumes are extremely low. Okay, I would call this the greed phase of the market, which to me is the final rally that we're going to see. 5 years ago, if I would have told you that I could give you 5.5% on a CD in the bank, people would have kissed me and they would have jumped up and down and had a party. Now, it's not good enough for them because they're watching what's going on in this market. This market has all the appearance of retail trade only. It has all the appearance of the big banks sitting there waiting, allowing the retail traders to push this market higher on very light volume, waiting to give them a good crack in the head and have this market collapse. And I would say that I'm still making my statement I've done with you for about the last 6 months, that before this move is over, we will see 50 to 70% to the downside. And I stand by that. This rally is as artificial as it can possibly be, almost as artificial as the AI stocks that are running up, very similar to the big run up in the 90s.
When does it break? What's the catalyst that will just break that and we'll see the numbers you're talking about?
Well, I mean, I can't really say exactly when it'll be. I mean, that's obviously the impossible task. But I mean, interest rates keep going up. The housing market keeps collapsing. The commercial real estate starts to feel more pain. The retail stores will have some more pain. And eventually, really, the markets don't announce themselves. These things just show up. And I would expect it to one day we're going to walk in and listen, we're not going to be down in one day. But all of a sudden, there's going to be some tension and some nerves, and the selling is going to start, and then it's going to start to accelerate. Where that comes from, that I cannot answer.
We know how much you love gold. So talk to me about your thoughts on the BRICS saying they're preparing to strike a blow against the US dollar. Last week, the Russian embassy in Kenya declared the BRICS countries are planning to introduce a new trading currency, which will be backed by gold. Now, do you believe the news headlines? I mean, obviously, if to take whatever's coming out of Russia with a grain of salt, what does this move signify to you?
Well, I think it's probably true. I mean, look, let's face it. When you weaken a nation, which President Biden has done with his policies and giving Saudi Arabia and China more power, China is pretty much behind Russia, and they've been trading gold for oil for years. Okay, this is not new. And the fact that they're talking about a currency that is backed by gold makes a lot of sense. I mean, really what you're saying is we want to take the central banking system out because, again, if you have an actual backing against a currency, there is something that actually gives you absolute value. I mean, you have in this country, Texas and Missouri who want to go to the gold standard again. So again, I think it's real. I think it's probably going to happen. Is it a true blow to the US dollar? Not at this moment, but certainly
Right.
it gives you cause for thinking.
Right, because it's not something that obviously happens overnight. But does it change anything for you? I mean, are you looking at news headline thinking, I should be adding to my gold position here, or you feel good with what you have, or maybe it's not changed anything for you?
I only get my news from you, Danny, and I would say to you that, listen, I'm a buyer of gold regardless of what's going on in the data. And if you look at the markets in general, gold has not been exactly flying since Russia said they were going to go into this BRICS nation. So look, At the end of the day, I think gold is a buy at any time because you're playing the long term. I'm not telling you about buying paper gold. I'm talking about going out to buy physical gold that you can store, that you can forget about, that you're not going to have to sell tomorrow to pay your car payment.
Yeah.
That's the key. You have to be able to invest in it and hold it like you hold your house.
Well, like you said, there hasn't been much excitement in the gold space these days. So on the flip side, I'm going to ask you, what are you doing with your Bitcoin?
I'm buying more. I think that Bitcoin is going higher. I think that we've seen it broke back out through 30,000. You're watching stocks like Coinbase are going much higher. Again, BitQ, which is a little small ETF that's been going higher. Look, I think that the governments tried to step on cryptocurrency. I think they failed. And I think that people are finally waking up and realizing that they're tired of the central banking system around the globe, the fraudulent currency system stealing their money and actually misspending it, just like we went through the debt ceiling debate and the misspending of our money. They continue giving our taxpayer money away to Ukraine. So I think that people are saying, hey, this is the currency of the libertarian. This is the currency of non-bank intervention. And it's a free market that trades 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Bring us down memory lane, okay? Because there's so much buzz around what the Bitcoin ETF will do to the price. What happened when gold ETFs were introduced? Was it a game changer for the price, Bubba?
It helped a little bit, but I mean, we've had some Bitcoin ETFs. I mean, again, the difference in Bitcoin and gold is gold is still was a physical metal, and they gave you some alternatives to buy onto it. You know, people are still concerned about what Bitcoin is because it's really an imaginary thing out in the air there, right? It's like it trades, it's got a value, but you can't put it in your hands, you can't touch it, you can't feel it, you can't smell it. So it's an interesting thing. But I mean, we've had Bitcoin ETFs, and you know,
spot ETF, like what BlackRock is looking to introduce.
Yeah, I think I think it helps. I think it makes it part of it. I think the big thing that Bitcoin will really make Bitcoin big is when they introduce liquid options to that. I think that'll make it something that people will then be much more free to want to be able to trade into, because then if they can protect it and hedge it, then they're much more likely to want to buy it and own it.
I want to talk politics with you now. No shortage of drama at the White House, obviously with Cocaine Gate, and then Hunter Biden reaching a deal with the federal prosecutors to resolve a 5-year federal investigation into his failure to pay about $1 million in federal taxes and his purchase of a handgun. I mean, do you think all this will be haunting Biden as we're about to start a real full-blown political campaign here?
You would hope that it would haunt Biden, not because he doesn't do anything well, not because he's destroyed everything that we've done, not because everything has gotten straight up, but where is the fair and equal justice? You know, if Hunter Biden's name was Donald Trump Jr., he'd be in jail already. You know, this is the problem. So I don't know that it will hurt him, because again, he has been able to skip through all of these things, through all the bad deals, through all of the monies that he has received supposedly through other parties throughout his political career. We have heard nothing. It goes just unsaid, unknown, versus again, Donald Trump, where he's been indicted 37 times and impeached twice, or attempted to. I think that again, the Democratic Party as it sits today is just extremely ridiculous, and more or less the squad hates America to begin with, and they want to become either socialist, Marxist, or communist here.
Well, that's why I'm curious to get your thoughts on the popularity of Robert Kennedy Jr. I mean, we're seeing big donations come in for RFK, also for DeSantis. Do you think RFK has a chance?
I think maybe it's a real outside chance, but he does have a chance. You know, it's very hard to knock out the incumbent as a rule, as bad as he may be and as much damage as he may have done. But again, this particular incumbent is not really in control. You would say, we'll call it the deep state, but whoever you want to call control behind him, because he really doesn't know half the things that he says. He's been proven to be trying to read stuff off a teleprompter that doesn't understand what he's reading to begin with. So I think that Kennedy's got a shot, but I think again, our system, political system in general, whether you be a Republican or a Democrat, is broken down to begin with. And, you know, the right candidate, for example, on the Republican side might be Vivek Ramaswamy, and he can't even get any traction whatsoever. but because we still live in the Stone Age when it comes to politics.
But it's quite telling, right? The rise of these, I guess you want to call them fringe candidates. People are fed up. That's what it's basically saying, Bubba.
Well, you would hope so. I mean, you would hope so that they would finally be fed up with what the current system is. I mean, the current system is bad. Whichever party you are, they're all basically, I don't want to say stealing our money, but taking our money and spending it in places it doesn't belong, and not worried about what's going on with the average American or the middle class. I mean, if you look at what's going on with patriotism in this country, patriotism is at 60% of the American. Now that is so un-American that it's hard to believe that we could have these people running our country, but yet they still get voted in. And there's a lot of things that don't make sense, and hopefully we'll wake up before it's too late, because between all the things that are going on with the education system, with all the breakdown of the family unit and the political system, we have a disaster brewing.
Let's wrap with this, because I know that you spend a lot of time in Las Vegas, and apparently, Bubba, there's been UFO sightings in Vegas. A Tennessee lawmaker even issuing a dire warning after claiming to have seen classified UFO footage that hasn't been released to the public. Republican Congressman Tim Burkett speculating that extraterrestrial life forms could have technology that humanity can't handle. And he said, if they're out there, they're out there. And if they could have this kind of technology, then they can turn us into charcoal briquette. Have you seen any UFO sightings? And is this all just a distraction, or do you believe it?
I see a UFO every time I look in the mirror. I mean,
maybe you're just a shapeshifter.
Is it possible? Of course it's possible. Have I seen any? No, but I typically don't stay up till it's dark, so I don't usually make it that long. I mean, there's a big UFO on the Strip, a big eyeball they put on that changes
the sphere
every day. Yeah. But again, could there be UFO? Sure, there could be. Listen, what do I know? I wouldn't be surprised. I think it's kind of silly to start worrying about legislation and going that far. I think that's kind of dumb. But again, look, they have to do something to justify what they do, and obviously they don't do a lot that is any good for the country of the United States. So
all right, maybe you got to head back to Chicago then.
I'm saying in Vegas, baby. Chicago is the murder capital of the world. The toughest gun restrictions in the country, and yet they have more murders there than anybody.
Well, we'll leave it on that happy ending. Bubba, I always love when you come and visit. Don't make so much time pass the next time. You're so hard to get a hold of these days.
Oh, come on, Danny. I'm here for you anytime, baby. I'll change my next flight. I'll change just to be with you.
Yay, fantastic. Well, we'll see you soon. Bubba, thank you so much. And thank you all for watching. We'll have more great content coming your way, so be sure to stay tuned to the Daniela Cambone Show, and don't forget to sign up at danielacambone.com. That's it for me. Thanks for watching.
Opinions expressed on this program are solely those of the contributor and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of Stansberry Research, its parent company, or affiliates.